Good afternoon, and thank you all for attending our various festivities today in recognition of National Donate Life Month. Those of you who attended the flag-raising ceremony earlier heard an emotional and inspiring story from Heather Mudrick on the impact that organ donation has on both the lives of the loved ones of organ donors as well as donor recipients. It was truly humbling to hear Heather's story. National Donate Life Month was established in 2003 and observed in April of each year to raise awareness about organ donation, to encourage individuals to register as organ and tissue donors, and importantly, to honor those who have saved lives through the gift of donation. Last year in 2021, transplant professionals in the United States performed more than 41,000 organ transplants, which was a record number. Organ donations from deceased donors set an annual record for the 11th consecutive year, while living donor transplants increased with over 6,500 living donor transplants performed. Despite the tremendous work, today there are more than 100,000 individuals in the United States in need of an organ transplant. Many of these are children under the age of 18. Also important from a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective is that the current waitlist data shows that people of color make up over 60% of the individuals awaiting an organ transplant. For those waiting, the uncertainty can be extremely difficult, exacting both physical and emotional tolls on the potential recipients and their loved ones. An average of 17 people die each day in the United States awaiting needed life-saving transplant surgery. In closing, during National Donate Life Month, we commend the researchers who are working to discover new technologies that will improve transplant services and reduce the number of people awaiting organ transplants. We also express gratitude for the healthcare providers who serve the transplant community. We thank the millions of individuals across America who are registered organ donors. And last and certainly not least, and most importantly, we give thanks and express gratitude to the families and friends of organ donors. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. So good to be here this afternoon. My name is Kimberly Belcher, and I serve as lead chaplain in the palliative care chaplain here at Ruby Memorial Hospital. I have been here for going on 10 years now, just started my 10th year, and have had lots of experience working with our donors and the recipients. I also serve as an independent living donor advocate with the Transplant Alliance and our kidney donors and kidney recipients here at the hospital. Having served as a chaplain at Ruby for just over 10 years, I have worked with families if they have considered organ donation for their loved ones. Organ donation is not something that is forced upon us. It is a choice that is made with much thought and consideration. Families such as yourself are often faced with making difficult decisions in difficult situations. A loved one is in an accident and has injuries that are not survivable. Something has happened to bring a premature end to our loved one's life. Through your grief and sorrow, the choice to act selflessly and help others assist in bringing comfort in the midst of tragedy. I've heard families say, I know that they would want to do what they could do to help. I know that donating their organs is what they would have wanted. They loved to help people when they were alive, and they would want to do what they could to continue to help. In sadness, you are able to find meaning through donation. In sorrow, there is hope. With grief, there is comfort, and through death, there is life. Isn't this how it should be? We are spiritual beings. We are constantly seeking ways in which we can connect with others, to relate with others in spiritual manners. Being an organ donor, in my mind, is not just a physical, a biological act, but it's also a spiritual act. Spirituality can be defined as a path for seeking a meaningful connection with others, with something bigger than ourselves, with something beyond ourselves. We often think of this connection as a connection with God, with a deity, with divinity, with something totally other, with the universe. But I also see it as a connection that is made whenever one chooses to donate to another. The blessing of donation is a connection to what is beyond, and it is bigger than you or me or anything we can imagine. It is a tangible, life-saving gift to provide life for others. And through donation, we are following one of the major tenets of many religions: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Most religions and faiths have their version of the golden rule. Faith grounded for caring for our loved ones and our neighbors. But how do we do this? We do this by providing support and love and care to others. We do this by befriending others and not estranging them, and through the realization that there is a spark within each of us that we recognize. And by desiring for others that what you desire for yourself and your loved ones, goodness, longevity, good health, love, and life, you desire for others also. As a foundation of our faith, the golden rule is what teaches us to love our neighbor, oftentimes that neighbor being a complete and total stranger, to love that neighbor as ourselves and as we want to be loved. And it is through this loving one another, by giving selflessly and through our service to those in need, putting someone else's life before our own, that we are able to not only connect with one another, but we are able to connect with the divine. So today, we celebrate the life and hope that is made possible through the blessing of donation. But it goes deeper than just celebrating. We are honoring those who have donated. Who are they? They are our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our spouses, sometimes our children, our friends. They are hunters and outdoorsmen. They are school teachers, and they are nurses and healthcare providers. We honor them for who they were, and we honor them for who they continue to be. And today we remember them, and today we remember their names. Thank you.
Afternoon. My name's Timothy Carroll, and I am a kidney transplant recipient. My story started several years ago when I ended up with high blood pressure, and I fought it for years and could never get it controlled, and eventually ended up with like stage 3 kidney disease. And I guess I really didn't pay any attention to the doctors or anything and do what I was supposed to do. And next thing I know, I was stage 5. And that was in fall of 2019. I had surgery and had stents and all put in to do dialysis starting in January of 2020. And after a month of going to the clinics and doing dialysis, I decided to do the home dialysis, the peritoneal dialysis. So I started training for that, and in March I finished my training and started my own dialysis at home. I continued that through December of 2021, and on my birthday on the 27th of December, I got a call from the transplant center saying they was going to put me on the list so I could get a transplant. And then I figured, maybe a year or so go by before I'd hear anything, and it was like 10 days. So it was a miracle. And I really appreciate everything that everybody's done, and I got a new outlook on life. I'm an outdoorsman. I hunt, fish, canoe, kayak, ride four-wheelers. I'm really active. And now hopefully I can get back to what I used to do. So I really appreciate it and thank everybody for everything they've done.
I'm so honored to join in such an important occasion. My name is Christy Ryan, and I'm the Director of Professional Services for the Center for Organ Recovery and Education, or better known to you as CORE. Before I begin, I must thank this hospital for bringing us all together virtually to celebrate the miracle of organ donation and to honor the donors who make this possible. At CORE, we coordinate the surgical recovery and transplantation of organs, tissues, and corneas. But our work is about so much more. It's about the donor families who find comfort in knowing that their loved ones live on through others and who stepped up when their generosity was needed the most. It's about recipients who, without a transplant, would not be able to live life to the fullest, grateful for their second chance. It's about giving the gift of life, and foremost among our partners in delivering that gift are transplant centers like this one. This hospital holds unimaginable power for transplant recipients, their families, and those waiting to receive that special call. A transplant center is more than a hospital. It's a center for hope, a monument to life's second chance and to the generosity of others. Here, the clinical teams and hospital leadership and staff are a critical link in the organ, tissue, and cornea donation process. They, you, are the everyday heroes doing extraordinary things, enabling our donors and donor families, the true heroes, to give the gift of life, and in doing so, change the lives of recipients and their families forever, and for the better. I know many of those generous donor families are watching us today. Although this ceremony to rededicate this special monument may look different this year, its intent is the same, to honor the donors and donor families who gave the greatest gift possible, the gift of life. To our donor families, I want you to know that your loved ones will never be forgotten. You and your families have been a powerful beacon of hope. For those waiting, you have shown that there are kind and generous people who want to help, save, and heal the lives of others. CORE would not be able to carry out our life-saving mission without the contributions made by each and every one of you. On behalf of CORE's Board of Directors and staff, as well as our transplant recipients and friends, we are honored to pay great tribute today to you and your loved ones, our donors and donor families who have given the gift of life, and to thank the incredible hospital staff for helping to make it all possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Doug Mitchell. I'm the chief nurse here at WVUH, JW Ruby Memorial Hospital. It was good to see our beautiful wall virtually, and part of what we're going to do over the next few months as things starting to loosen up with our pandemic seeming to loosen up is to make arrangements for any family member who wants to come in to our hospital and see the wall in person, to see your family member's name on our wall. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully this time next year, when it's time to do this again, we can all be together in fellowship. 51 organ donors last year in 2021 here at JW Ruby Memorial. 119 lives saved. 119 lives saved. 46 tissue donors, 43 cornea donors, 34 research organs. 119 lives saved, countless lives improved with sight, with movement, and other things that tissue donation can give. Today's all about the donors and the donor families. And we heard from a donor this morning, and then we heard from a recipient, Mr. Carroll, today. So it's the life, it's the sometimes in tragedy being able to make this gift, this selfless gift, either that we choose as individuals or sometimes our family members choose. If it wasn't clear at the time of passing, what would my family member want to do? And like Kim said, oftentimes we hear they wanted to help while they were here, and we're not sure exactly. Maybe they weren't designated, but we know they'd want to help. So we make that choice. And sometimes in terrible tragedy, to make that selfless choice can make such a difference with lives. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize some of our healthcare workers who make this possible here at Ruby. We are among the best in the region when it comes to minimizing any process breakdowns we have and maximizing the number of organs we get for each donor, so we can save more lives with the amount of donors we have. So I'll just say that today is a day of remembrance, dedication, honor, and I would argue celebration. Today we celebrate the donors. We celebrate the donor families. We celebrate the lives of our donors, their families, the selfless act of donation, and the good and joy that comes to the recipients and their loved ones. And sometimes not only to the recipients, but the donor families themselves in the midst of tragedy can have some meaning, some ability to say, my loved one was able to help someone else live. So with that, thank you very much. Again, the donor families will hear from us in terms of being able to schedule a time to come and see our wall that's in our lobby that honors your loved one. And with that, that concludes today's activities. Thank you very much.